All right, you're tuned into a Talkin Hoopz exclusive with AJ Kyle, Mark Strickland, and on the line with us is forward James Jones from the Miami Heat. James, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much at all.
All right. So, James, since coming to Miami Heat, guys won 2 rings, and you're on the road to 3-peat. It's got to be a special group of guys. What's it been like playing with this group, and what's the mindset like right now?
Man, it's been unreal. This is my 11th year in the NBA, and every year, especially the last 2 years where we won the championship, you think about, hey, man, this may be the pinnacle. This may be the best team, the best group of guys I've ever played with. And then you fast forward another year, and guys have matured. Their games have grown. Our chemistry has increased, and you're constantly riding the high. It's pretty special to be able to be a part of a team that's chasing a three-peat, but to see that you have the pieces and you have the capability of making that come true is exciting. So it's a constant struggle, and we're always trying to chase improvement, trying to figure out ways to get better because we know our opponents are getting better. Teams are retooling and rebuilding, trying to knock us off our throne. So it's a good challenge, but at the same time, it gets a little testy at times.
I was just going to ask you about that. What are the practices like? They must be really intense because the team is so deep. You and Ray Allen are probably 2 of the top shooters in the NBA, and you guys are there, and then you got LeBron and Bosh and Wade, and the team is just so deep. Is it just always competitive all the time?
It is, and this is a good group of guys because we're very good at towing the line. When we step on the court, we compete all out. Every man is trying to compete to make our teammates better, but more importantly, show that we're all deserving of minutes. And then when you step off the court, we all understand we have to, come together to make sure that mentally we're all in the right place so that we can accomplish our ultimate goal, which is to win a championship. But practices are tougher than the games, and usually when you have a team where you have elite talent at the top, if a guy's banged up or bruised and he needs to miss a practice or he needs to, take an off day, your practice atmosphere normally tapers off. But with this group, it seems like in those situations, the competition only increases.
All right, now with Ray Allen having actually 2 really nice dunks in the last game, at his age, have you been impressed with what he's been able to do as a player, still being able to compete at that high of a level?
We're always impressed by Ray. Like, the more you spend time with him, the more you observe, you realize, one, that he's tremendously blessed, with his natural abilities, but then secondly, he's a true professional. I think if a lot more guys paid attention to their diets, to their body, to their rest and their recovery, and just their overall year-round health, not just in the basketball season, that you'd see more guys like Ray, you see more guys like Grant Hill, the guys that in their mid to late 30s that can really be effective, because they know their bodies, they know their limitations, and they know that their bodies come first.
How does it feel, man, to be a Miami protege and go to college at my University of Miami, and then you come full circle and you playing pro ball in Miami, and you also winning championships here? It must be an amazing feeling every time you come out the locker room, man, and you see a lot of guys that you grew up with. You see your parents, uncles, cousins, man. I want to know how that feels to win a championship, to do that in your own city where you're from.
The first year when we lost it, it was devastating, but that was a really good year for me because that was a dream fulfilled. I always dreamt about coming back to Miami, playing for the Heat, and competing for a championship, and to actually be, a couple games away from it was really exciting. But then to follow that up with 2 championships after that, it's really a humbling experience. And because as a player, the older you get, I'm in my 11th year, you only play this game for so long, and anything over 3 or 4 years, you're really beating your odds. So to be able to do it at a high level with these guys at home is a storybook ending, or at least a story to a book, because you think about the game's greatest. I always think about the game's greatest players: Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, the Isaiah Thomases, the Tim Duncans, LeBron James. He's one of the few guys that had an opportunity to play professionally at home. And so for me to be able to play at home and win a championship is something really special.
Now to get to that three-peat, a lot of talk has been about Chris Bosh being the X factor, his rebounding, his overall play. Is that the case in your mind? Is Chris Bosh the X factor?
I mean, I think people are always looking for ways to measure and say if this guy does this or if another guy does that. We all understand that Chris has been the X factor all 3 years, and while it's easy to get caught up in the numbers about what a guy scores and how many rebounds he averages, Chris is the one player that's been in different scenarios, different situations within our offense, within our scheme every single year. Now, his first year here, he played the 4. Then last year he played the 4 and the 5, and now this year he's starting at the 5, so he's around the basket more. This year he's getting more paint points because he's rolling to the basket in our system because we're playing small. So you just can't look at numbers and say, hey, if a guy does more scoring or more rebounding, and if he increases those things, then he'll be special. I mean, we all know that every night when we go out there, Chris is arguably the guy with the biggest matchup differential, because he's unguardable by 4s and he's unguardable by 5s. And, he's a guy that doesn't handle the ball. So it's not as if he has the ball 90 times a game. He may get the ball 15, 16 times, but he's extremely efficient. And so those are the guys that really hurt you if you're an opponent.
And now, to get to that three-peat, obviously you have to get to the championship, and one of those teams standing in the way is the Indiana Pacers, who are playing very, very well. They've beaten you once this season. You've also taken one from them. Are they a team that you guys circle on your schedule now? Maybe you didn't really put that much stock into it in the beginning of the season, but are they a team that you're paying close attention to, or is it just every other game is a different experience?
Outside of looking at who gets the best record in the Eastern Conference, we look at those guys when we play them. This game has too much parity. We have too much respect for every player, for every team in this league, to sit here and focus on a singular opponent. I mean, we're not even talking about the teams out in the West like Portland, OKC, San Antonio, Houston. Those guys that are retooled and that are playing very, very good basketball. So it makes for good rivalry and good fanfare. But we understand that regardless of what they're doing, we have to get better at our game. We have to establish our identity to be able to make it to the championship and play whoever. Because if you're not playing your best basketball, in the playoffs, all it takes is one bad game and you can find yourself with a long summer vacation.
Right.
Yeah.
So
how do you do your preparation? I mean, I know I want to give you a lot of credit on your professionalism. I played that kind of role that you're playing with the Miami Heat, where you don't really know. It could be 3, 4 DNPs, and all of a sudden, you come to the arena and you start. It seems to me, man, that you're always ready to go, always professional about it. Just can you tell me about some of the mental things that you do, or some of your preparation to even, stay mentally focused when your name is called like that?
I mean, well, I coach every day. I really approach it like work. I look at it very similar to Ray. Ray and Reggie Miller were two guys I looked towards as a young player. As far as how do you prepare to be your best, and for me, it's knowing what I do well, which is shooting, and making sure I give it the utmost attention. And so that means getting in early so that I can be consistent in my routine, so that I have enough time. And in case coach calls my number and tells me I'm starting, it's not like I'm walking into the arena 45 minutes before a big game and having my number called. So I just try to be consistent in everything. And if I play that day, great. If I don't, great. You know, I'll always be in good shape, and mentally I'll be confident that I put in the work that will allow me to be effective in those very uneven circumstances.
Yeah. Isn't they the best though, man? The Heat with conditioning, man. I played for Indiana as well and a few other teams, but man, the Heat are the best at conditioning. I really feel that.
Oh no, without a doubt.
Yeah.
To be an elite athlete, it's like a car. You want a car fine-tuned when you go out there to race it, and without that conditioning level, you don't stand a chance against the elite teams.
Definitely. Now, James, you're also the treasurer of the NBPA. So what I really wanted to also talk to you about was some of the topics that you guys are trying to get out there, things you're working on currently. What are some of those things that the union is taking part in right now?
I mean, well, we're really big in trying to promote and relay the message of our players. I think too many times people look at our players strictly as professional athletes, and they don't understand that they're pillars of the community, that these guys are businessmen, and that they do a lot for their communities, for their teams, for their families. And so, a big part of what we can continue and hope to do is to continue to build that awareness and just let the public know how to engage and how to embrace the great efforts that our players partake of. And then secondly, our focus is always to improve the quality of life outside of basketball for our current NBA players and more notably in the future for our retired players. Because once you're a member of the NBA, it's a fraternity that you never step out of, and no one can really understand the life and the complexities that come along with being a professional basketball player, except basketball players. So, that's the biggest thing is building our base, building a stronger union, both current and retired, so that our guys maximize not only what they do on the court, but what they do off as well.
Yeah, that's a tall order because a lot of times you hear retired players are in the news, for negative reasons. If they go bankrupt or if they're caught doing something criminal, you don't really hear about, this guy is in the community working with schools, or that guy is in the community trying to help kids, go shopping for the holiday season. It's always the negative stuff that you hear, and very rarely do you hear about the positive things. I know the Miami Heat was out in the community, I think, earlier this month with a bunch of local schools, right?
Right, yeah. Well, that's a responsibility, and I think traditionally we've allowed the mass media to kind of direct the message, but that's the responsibility of the players in the union, is to put those things out there. The mass media is always looking for a headline, for something shocking, for something that gives you pause or, takes your breath away, and usually that's either something that's negative or something that's just tragic. And so we want to make sure that people are aware on a consistent basis of the good things that we do, just so we can reshape their mental image and picture of what a professional athlete is, and to let them know that the things they see on TV aren't really the norm. They're more the exceptions.
All right. James, thanks so much for joining us. And before we let you go, I got to leave you with this one question. Are we going to see you in any photobombing pictures in the coming future?
There's a good chance you'll start seeing that happening. It's the Miami Heat thing these days, and so it's our presence has been requested, and so I have to give my teammates what they want. So you might want to look out for a couple of those sessions.
All right. James, it's been awesome having you on with us. Really appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.
Happy holidays, James.
Happy holidays, man.
Happy holidays.
Good luck tomorrow, man. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
All right.
All right.